Welcome to the People Connect podcast. Your network is your net worth. Are you ready to take your life to the next level? Be prepared to leap out of your comfort zone and connect with the who's who of what you want to do. Stop, drop, and roll as we start, market, and grow the CEO of you and your host, Nichelle Womack. She will help you engage, reinvent, motivate, and reactivate your plans for success.
Hey everybody, happy Wednesday, Wisdom Wednesday. How are you? Welcome. Thank you for taking time out of your day to spend with me. I'm Nichelle with 2excelwithnichelle.com. You can connect with me on Instagram at Nichelle Womack, on Facebook at Nichelle Womack, here on Periscope at Nichelle Womack, and Twitter at Nichelle Womack. Hello, how are you, Amber? What's going on, lady? Thank you for coming in. I greatly appreciate you sharing it with followers as well. Thank you so much. I pray you've had a magnificent day. If you are just coming in as well, thank you so much to all the replay viewers. Greatly appreciate each and every one of you for taking time out of your day to be in my space. So today we are going to talk about 5 reasons why cash flow may be low in your relationship. On Monday, we talked about cash flow being low in your life. Yesterday, we talked about cash flow being low in your business. Today, we're going to talk about in relationship. If you don't know, I hope you do, but all of them must sync together in order for you to be successful in any endeavor in your life, in your business, and your relationship. Because if your life ain't right, your relationship ain't gonna be right. And if neither one of those two are right, your business is not gonna be right. It's so key and so important to have a handle on each one of them so that you can prosper and reach that next level, whatever your next level is. Remember, everybody has a next level. So when we're talking about cash flow is so important for sufficiency in your life, because you can't do anything without money, as I've shared to you many times. In your business, you cannot grow your business without money. And even in your relationship, you're going to have some rocky times in your relationship if money is a problem. Money is the number one reason why people divorce. It's the number one reason why people don't get married. It's the number one reason why people don't enjoy the successful, abundant life is because of money. In fact, there's a myth out there, and I'm going to dispel that, Amber. It's a myth out there, and that myth is when there's 2, there's more. When there's 2, there's more. And I'm going to dispel that because that's not actually true, especially if both people come into the relationship with already being in debt. Hey, Russ, how you doing? So that is a myth. I want you to really get that out of your mindset. I know I've had plenty of people tell me all the time, well, you're married, you have more. No, that's not true. In fact, we have double what you may have, double the trouble, okay, than what you may have as a single person. So if you are not married, if you are engaged, if you're thinking about getting married, first of all, before I even get started with the points, I want you to get yourself together, get your life together, because you cannot be successful with somebody else if your life isn't right. It's so key and so important. I see so many people that are in a hurry to get married, and when I always ask people, why are you in a hurry? I'm like, what are you bringing to the party? You want to make something that you have something to bring to the table just in case it don't work out. Now, don't go into the relationship with the mindset that it's not going to work out, but you always want to be prepared because we never know what tomorrow may bring. Now, my tip for relationship, and I've shared this previously on other scopes, is don't be hungry. It's so many thirsty people out there just trying to just attach with anybody. Pray that God sends you that perfect spouse. There's no perfect spouse. Pray that God sends you that right man or woman to add to your life so that you guys can excel to that next level. But don't be out there being thirsty or hungry for them, because you will end up getting somebody that you're not meant to be with. And God has already designed your perfect mate for you. And these 5 reasons that I'm going to give you to help you with your cash flow will help you hopefully sustain that relationship. And so when you think about it, marriage is a business. If you've never heard that before, it is a business. You're signing a contractual agreement to death do you part. And that to death do you part in that contractual agreement includes everything, whether you come in with kids, debt, mother-in-law, father-in-law issues, baby mama drama, all of that. You're tied to that person through that contractual obligation in marriage. So keep that in mind. And when money is an issue in the relationship, there will always be problems. So, for example, when my husband and I, yes, yes, Amber, when my husband and I got married, somebody may say this is unethical, but I wanted to make sure that I was making the right decision. I already was attracted to him mentally and physically. That's another caveat that you need to be aware of. You need to be attracted to people mentally, physically, because if you're not attracted to them mentally, that physically going to actually go away, because age happens, gravity happens to the body, the mind, and everything else. So make sure that there's something to sustain that relationship outside of just that physical attraction. When my husband and I got married, I pulled a credit report on him. I wanted to make sure that he was financially stable to handle me, because it took a lot for me to be married, because I was sufficient prior to marriage. I had my own house, all of that stuff. I was already on my job making very good money. So I didn't need a man. I wanted a man, didn't need one, but I prayed and asked God to send me the right man, not just any man, because when we want a man, we're going to get any man. But when you pray on that man, God gives you the discernment to know when that right man comes into your life. And so the 5 reasons that you want to keep that cash flow in there, keep in mind, amen. Keep in mind that marriage is a business. Make sure you take it seriously, like a business. Just like you're going to put that effort into a business and in your life, put that effort into your relationship and into your marriage. Number 1, the main reason why your income, your cash flow, your money, whatever, the coins, dollars, whatever it is, may be low in your relationship is because you don't talk about money. You don't talk about money. As a doctoral student, we work with patients all the time, or clients all the time, that come in stressed out for one thing or another. And the first thing that they always say, money. Either they're in debt, don't know how they got there, trying to get out. And it's just a big issue. They have no freedom when it comes to their money. And I always say, even in marriage, you need an extra stream of income. In life, you need an extra stream of income. And so money is always the issue. And the reason why is because you don't talk about it. In fact, when you start talking about it, it becomes an argument. People argue about money before they argue about anything else. Yes, money is the main issue, Amber. They argue about money, not enough. Sometimes they even argue about too much. Believe it or not, they argue about too much money. And I'll get into that in my last point here. But you got to talk about money if you want your money issues to be healed. If you want the issues in your relationship to increase the cash flow and not be less and have more than what you have. So, you don't talk about money. You got to start talking about it. That's number 1, why your cash flow may be low in your relationship. Number 2, you don't have any money goals. Just like you have life goals, like you have business goals, you got to have money relationship goals as well. How much money do you all want to have in this relationship? And it may require one of you guys, or if not both of you guys, going out to get some additional streams of income so that you have that increase in your cash flow in your relationship. And so you got to have those goals. Starting off the goals is, even before you walk down that aisle, you need to talk about money, what your goals are, the perceptions of money. Because if you don't talk about money before you get married, when you get married, money will be a problem. And so if you talk about it prior to, you talk about the goals. Well, how much income do you want to make in your life? What type of opportunities are you going to go after that secure that amount of money that you expect in your life? In 30 years, we expect to be planned to be retired. How much money are we going to put in our 401k? How much money are we going to put in our IRA? Those things need to be discussed literally before you say I do. Because as I mentioned, if you don't, what you'll find when you get in that marriage is going to be a consistent problem on a regular basis, and you're going to always be arguing. Like I said, when I married my husband, hey boss lady, how you doing? When I married my husband, I did that credit check because I wanted to make sure, first of all, that when we decided to buy a home, that he was financially capable of buying a home, that he had enough credit to buy a home. And a lot of times, it used to be back in the day when you looked at somebody's credit, you could tell if they're a good manager of their money. That's still the case, because your credit score tells a lot about how you manage your resources. Typically, low credit scores mean you don't pay a dang on thing. But then also, hey, how you doing, Jazzy? Also, that could mean that there was a life happenstance in your life. Maybe you got laid off from a job or something. Maybe you got fired or something along those lines, and money became an issue because you did not have the resources to pay those bills. So it can attribute to a lot of things, in your life, low credit scores. But you really want to make certain that the person you marry, that they're capable, if nothing else, of paying whatever else they have off. Those are so important to get married. So money goals, start getting money goals in your relationship if you're dating, especially before you say I do, before you cross that broom and marry that person. Make sure you know what their ideology of money is and that it aligns with your vision, your reality for that next level, so that money and cash flow won't be a problem in your relationship. Another thing you need to do is come up with plans. My husband and I, we didn't start off this way. And so it was kind of difficult before. We really never argued about money. But we now, within probably like the second or third year of us being married, you remember that? Yes. In the second and third year of us being married, we started doing money goals. Right now I am 47 years old. I personally would like to be retired. My goal was to be retired at 40, but it didn't work out like that in my life. Life happened. So it didn't happen. But by 50, I would like to be retired from working, consistently on a regular basis. I want to be able to enjoy time, because what you find, people work all their life, then they retire, then they end up dying. You don't want that. You want to be able to enjoy your life while you can still do the things that you really enjoy doing. And so having those money goals when you plan to retire, if you plan to retire at a certain age, make certain that you guys are in sync with that, so that you can make certain how much money that you're attributing to different things in a household, how much mortgage you can afford, how much, a car payment you can afford, utility bills, eating out on a regular basis. Thank you so much for sharing, Jazzy. So you want to be cognitive of that, because all of that will affect your cash flow in your relationship. The next one, number 3. And another thing with that, having no money goals, start having monthly meetings talking about your money, where you are right now, what you've paid off, what you plan to pay off, what increases in salary or business opportunities that you've had. Have monthly money meetings. Just like businesses do all the time, they have meetings all the time to talk about the cash flow in the business. You got to have that in your relationship as well, because as I mentioned, business, relationship is a business. A marriage is a business. Thanks for sharing again, Amber. Greatly appreciate you. Number 3, the reason why your cash flow is low in your relationship is for the simple reason that you're being sneaky with your money. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm a little old school. My grandmother was old school, and she always told me, Nichelle, make certain that you keep a little stash on the side just in case. And I still live by that principle of keeping a little stash on the side just in case. But my husband knows about that. I don't have to be sneaky with it, because sometimes I've had to go to that little stash on the side when something was cut off or something needed to be paid. And he was glad that I had that little stash on the side for that. So don't be afraid to have a little stash on the side, emergency fund. If you want to just call it your fund, your shopping fund, or whatever it be. Oh my gosh, my mom is the same way, and she got another bank account. Yes, but make sure your spouse, make sure your husband, whoever it is, knows about that, so that there's no sneakiness in the relationship, that both of you all are aware of what's coming in and what's coming out. Because if you don't do that, then money will become an issue when something needs to be paid. You need to set rules and limits on your spending. I have clients that I work with right now. They have one for travel. They have an account for travel. They have an account for household expenses. They have an account for business and all of that. And sometimes that helps. That didn't necessarily work in my household. We have one for travel, and we have one for extracurricular and then bills. But sometimes people have a different account for everything that goes on in their life, and that works for them. And that may work for you as well. That may help you keep an account of what's coming in and what's going out. So that may be, something that will help increase that cash flow in your relationship. Again, but just don't be sneaky about it. Make your spouse aware of what's available in the accounts that you have. Let's see, separate accounts, as I mentioned to you. The next one that I want to share with you that may be beneficial for you is talking about being envious about money. Yes, people are jealous. Spouses are jealous of each other. Believe it or not, I know people today, you may know some as well, they're jealous of their spouse because they have a better job than them. They make more money than them. Typically, that's normally the case. I've seen it more so with husbands than wives, or boyfriends versus girlfriends, for the simple fact they may be jealous you got a better job and your income is greater, and that jealousy causes envious in relationship, and it will have a negative effect on your cash flow. So you want to make certain that the envious aspect is out, that is the lines of communication are open and clear, that they're not jealous because you are the director of sales and they work on the front line. So talking about those things in advance really will make you aware of what type of person that you're dealing with. Now, people do change. People do change when you get married. They're not going to be the same person that you married the day you said I do. Some people change the day after. Some people change a year after, 3 years, 5 years. Even at 21 years, at the stage that I am now being married, I see my husband has changed. He still have the same viewpoints and mindset about a lot of things, but his ideas have changed. Why? Because he's matured. And hopefully that's what happens in life. You mature, the spouse mature, and you all have a different idea of how you want to move forward in your life goals. And so people are envious because of that. And if that is the case, as I mentioned, I'm going to encourage you to talk about those things when they happen, when you notice that they're happening, because if not, you will find them to be a consistent problem and the cash flow in your relationship will continue to be low. The last thing that I want to share with you, number 5, is that people become too controlling. That's the last point. People are too controlling. And, working in psychology, working with patients that come in, clients that come in, you see that aspect over and over again. And you can start seeing how when the couples are talking, where one is more authoritative in their conversation versus the other, when they cut that person off and don't want that other person to say anything for the simple fact they don't want them to spill the beans or share the secret, because it may enlighten the person or the social worker or case manager that this particular person is having an abusive situation in their relationship. So that may be a reason why your cash flow is low. You got to have that open communication line. You got to have not the fear of talking about money. You also have to have that good relationship with your spouse that you can feel confident when you go out there and spend something, that they're not, hammering you on the head. That was a poor decision for you to do. You shouldn't have done that. Or why did you spend that money, and things of that nature. And again, it goes back into an argument. So you want to make sure all those lines of communication are open and clear, that there's no controlling aspect, that when you go out there and work your job every day, that you have the right and the privilege to spend your money if you choose to. Again, with the communication that your spouse is aware that that's what's going on and that's what's happening. I have a client right now. She is a shopaholic, literally a shopaholic. Shoes. I think she owns perhaps maybe I shouldn't say that, but she owns a lot of shoes. And when talking to her spouse, he's like, get rid of some of these shoes, donate them to charity or whatever. And they always have this problem or issue that continues to have them bump heads. And so my advice to them on a regular basis, because she's interested in starting a business right now, is that they got to get that under wraps first before we can move towards the part of that we're start talking about a business. Because again, as I mentioned, your life, your relationship, and your business, they're all tied up into one. And if by chance that one of them fails, the other one tends to tumble down as well, especially if they're not all synced together. And don't commingle funds. Your life funds, your business funds, and your relationship funds must be something totally different when you're talking about your goals and objectives in life. And again, your spouse must be on board with those types of things. So men have a different view of money than women. I know you've heard men are from Mars, women are from Venus, or maybe the opposite around, but they have a different view. They're risk takers. They're more willing to go out there and buy stocks, buy bonds, buy real estate, whatever it is. Whereas a woman is a little bit more conservative, and she's like, no, we don't want to do that because, again, somebody may lose their job. You never know. And so with that being said, again, communicating with your spouse, being open when you're talking about money really will help keep you guys' financial level at a point where it's consistently growing versus decreasing and not growing. And so that is my message for you today. My last point here: money can't buy love, but it can definitely tear it apart. Yes, money cannot buy love, but it can definitely tear it apart. And I know I'm not the only one that have seen marriages dissolve for the simple reason there wasn't enough money. There was too much money. As I mentioned, spouses making more money than other, then jealousy becomes a factor in the relationship. And then next thing you see, these people are on divorce court or something like that, arguing over who's going to pay spousal support. It's in the evident right now. Mary J. Blige, she's another one right now where she has to pay spousal support to Kendu, her ex-husband. And that's because she was the primary breadwinner in that family. I do believe in, signing prenuptial agreements, especially if you're not really sure. Some people marry off of lust and some people marry off of money. And if that is the case, if you are of financial stature where you feel like that may be a situation where you're going to end up paying spousal support, please spend the money, get a prenup so that you can protect yourself. It's so important to protect your investments as an individual because you are a stakeholder in you. And you want to make certain that if anything happens in that relationship, first and foremost, if you have children, they're taken care of, and then you are as well. One last point that I want to share with you as well. I'm a licensed life insurance broker. And with that being said, I find that most couples are underinsured. And I cannot speak enough of how it happens. Mostly, I know it happened in every community, but I can only speak on being an African American woman. When people call me and tell me something happened in their life, perhaps maybe the spouse was disabled or something tragic happened in the life of their spouse, the first thing that I ask them, especially if they aren't a client of mine, and do you have life insurance? And a lot of them have to go to GoFundMe so that they can get money to bury you. Yes, you will be buried because the state is not going to just let you stay there, but you're going to stay at the funeral home a long time before you move forward, because that's a business. A funeral home is a business, and they got to be paid to do all the services, even get you a casket, and do any type of thing, embalming and all that kind of stuff. They got to pay for those things. So it's not going to be free. And if the state has to pay for it, God knows it's going to take forever for that to happen, for them to get resources for you to happen. Make certain that you have life insurance. Make sure you have life insurance on your husband. Make sure he has it on you as well, just in case something happens, that whatever salary he was making or you're making, that it will cover the expenses of your family so that your children are not without. Life insurance really is a protection for the fact that even if something happened to you right now with disability insurance, that you're not broke, because people go into debt when things happen like that. They go into debt if something happens on the job. And be careful, because people tell me all the time, I have life insurance on my job. Yes, but what if you lose your job? That life insurance doesn't go with you most of the time. And so be assured to check into that to see that if you lose your job, if you get laid off or anything, if your insurance goes with you. Because if it doesn't, you need to get you some extra insurance. And even if it does, still get you insurance. Most jobs, only insurance that they have is term insurance. Most jobs are not going to give you whole life insurance. Reason being, whole life insurance is much more expensive than term insurance. So employers opt to have term insurance versus whole life insurance. And the difference is term is just for a term of your life. They have 10, 15, 20, 30, 35 year term. But whole life, again, you pay for it your whole life, but it is something that is permanent that you're going to have no matter what age you get. And just as a caveat as well, life insurance get more expensive the older you get. So it's key to get it young before you even get married. Try to get as much as you can with the anticipation that you're going to get married and that you're going to probably have kids. And you want to make certain that if something ever happens, that your family is not left without. So important. I cannot stress that enough. I run into so many people who get caught without those things, and then life happens to them and their cash flow is diminished because they did not plan, prepare in advance for the unexpected. So, I'm Nichelle, if you're just coming in, with 2excelwithnichelle.com. You can learn more about me and what I do at bit.ly/2 with Nichelle. You can go there and you can see everything I do. Consultations, I do offer a free 15-minute clarity call at bit.ly/2 excel with Nichelle. I do offer free clarity, a focus session, and talk to you about whatever it is that you need to help you excel to that next level. My purpose is a life hacker. I'm a biz starter and a relationship builder to help you excel, move forward, and push you in and out of your comfort zone to that next level. So I thank each and every one of you. Amber, for being here. Jazzy, I think you were on here as well. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day. I greatly appreciate all those hearts coming in. And I pray this message has resonated with your spirit, that has given you some insight to think about your life right now and in the future of what you possibly need to do to take your cash flow to the next level in your relationship, your business, and in your life. Connect with me on Instagram at Nichelle Womack, Twitter at Nichelle Womack, and here on Periscope. If you're not connected with me, please touch that little perido so we can stay connected with one another. Blessings and peace unto you, and may everything you touch, may it turn to gold. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.